Hey Nuggets, it is your favorite TT from Divine Me 1111 Spiritual Guidance, and my little friend fell over again. Oh gosh. Anywho, and I was getting ready to put him on his head. Anyway, welcome. We're gonna do a TT Talks today. I don't always have a format. I just kind of go as I'm guided. And today is about connections and who you're connected to, what you're connected to, connections with depth, and those things that feed and edify you, and in some instances they confirm things that you know, or that you got an intuition, an intuitive nudge about, but you are not 100% certain if it's, from God, or if it's you thinking something or whatnot. And, basically, that whole idea of iron sharpens iron. Here in the past couple of years, I have withdrawn myself from a lot of things and people who I have felt within myself to not be for my highest good. I'm a very sensitive person, so I feel energy pretty heavy. And for a long time, I did not know that that's what I was doing. When you are in this existence and you don't know what, gifts are, or if you are in a dynamic that is not spiritual but is religious, things, you tend to not really know who you are. You kind of shut things off because you're told to ignore things, or no, that's not true, or no, that's not what, what's going on. When in actuality, you are seeing what's going on, and you're having doubts about yourself and about, what you are feeling, seeing, and knowing in your spirit. And I had a conversation just these past couple of days with someone who is just a joy to me. I love him immensely. He is absolutely my kindred spirit. We are born on the same day. He is my blood. And he confirmed some things to me about myself that I knew, but everything else around me was telling me that I was wrong about things. And it's just like, you know what? I can't be wrong about everything, because it is truly the constant nudge of what I'm feeling. And then what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing gets confirmed, and what I'm seeing and who I'm seeing it from is in complete denial about it. But I know that what I know, what you feel, what you see. But I think we've had this in a previous TT Talks, that people would prefer to be able to lie and cover up and be in their comfort zones for their own safety. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That is how we learned to protect ourselves and how to project ourselves out into the world for the sake of being included and not being ostracized or looked at funny or weird or different. And in having that conversation with him, it brought to my awareness my aunt, his mother, who a lot of people said she was crazy. I never thought she was crazy. I always believed that she was different. And being different is not a bad thing. But I never thought she was crazy because a lot of what she would say made sense to me. Even though the physical evidence of the things that she would say weren't so apparent. I didn't see them, outright a lot of the times. But when I look back now over the time that I spent with her, it's an amazing thing how authentic she was in the face of the times that she lived in. Hold on a second, guys. So in my time being with her, I cherish every moment that I spend with any person who is in my life. And I know that people are in our lives for a purpose. The family that we're born into, the people that we go to school with, our co-workers, people, just strangers we meet on the street, everything has a purpose. And to live in a time where everything is about covering up and being in a space where you want everything to look good rather than everything being authentically what it is and what is created to be. I felt like I had to fight to be myself. And you should never have to fight to just be naturally who you are. Just as there are so many stipulations of beauty standard and what looks appealing to a specific eye. Coming into the understanding of you're created this way for a purpose. You have these gifts for a purpose. You've gone through this situation for a purpose. And through connections, different encounters with many different people, you take from that, there's a lesson in everything. Not just those connections that are hard, those connections that are difficult, which are our greatest teachers. The connections that are sweet and tender and kind, and you learn from that sweetness, your authentic sweetness, and the being vindicated for just being who you are. God does that through some of our connections. you're taught to run away from things that are hard, that are difficult, things that you want to get through, you want to get past, but not necessarily facing it head on, because we are afraid of the response or the reaction from someone else, because we want to be included, we want to be a part, we want to not feel like we're alone. But being alone is not, first of all, we're never alone. You're never alone. You are set apart sometimes. Sometimes we're set apart. Sometimes we have to get into that quiet space with just you and God. So when it's that kind of set apart, you're not alone. That connection is your most important connection. That connection that you have between your source, your God, your divinity, your higher being, the most high, and the connection that you have with yourself. Knowing who you are, being rooted and grounded in the energy of being created just like this for just this specific person at exactly this right time. Coming into an understanding of that is freeing. And it not only frees you to be who you are, but it invites other people to do the same thing. And when those around you are not in that same energy, they don't understand that. They are afraid to be that because they were told their whole lives that, you're this and you're that and you need to be this, and people are trying to keep you in a specific box that is their comfort zone. Those kinds of connections are the most impactful. Those are the connections that you don't just need those connections to grow you and to teach you how to be even more yourself, to free somebody else to be more themselves. But when there is that contrast, it's the need to go within and find out the why. And then you start questioning yourself, and well, maybe I should have, and blah, 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 blah. And that takes you into this space of a downward spiral of people pleasing and trying to be everything for everybody else, when deep down you are stifling yourself more and more and more, and dimming your light and turning your wants, needs, and desires into somebody else's wants, needs, and desires to appease them, to make them feel better, so that they are so you're not, especially when you're an empath, so you're not feeling that adversity and feeling that fear of other people's authenticity, I should say. Now, when somebody shows you who they are, Mother Maya said, believe them. And people can show you who they are at different stages. What our misconception of life is we don't want people to change. We want them to stay how it is comfortable for us. so that we can still stay in that connection, so that we can still have that level of comfort for us. Because when you have a connection that bonds in a certain level, in a certain way, you want to hold on to that. But it's not always good for you to stay in that specific energy. We are made to grow and learn and evolve. And when we are not able to do that, we cut ourselves off and we sell ourselves short. And it's the comfort zone that we get used to. Because stepping out, into the unknown is fearful. So when you can get into a space with an energy that is also comfortable with themselves, and you don't have to overdo it, you don't have to fight, you don't have to explain, you don't have to be in this mental, physical, and spiritual energy of having to fight all the time. In having the conversation with my person, my family, my love. I've always called him that. He's always been my love. He's always been my joy. And in having that conversation with him, we talked a lot about spirituality and our purpose. And what you learn as a child, what you're given as a child, is your base, is your foundation. But you're supposed to grow and expand that and integrate it into your life to make it fit you, in a sense that you have this base to build upon. Everybody comes into the same environment, but everybody gets a different experience from that. It is learning that the ultimate father, the ultimate parent that we are to be in love with and ascend to pleasing and being is our Creator. And He put these things in us for that purpose. We are given the talents and the insights and the knowledge and the wisdom for the purpose of being exactly who we are created to be. Those who are around us don't necessarily, they have all these dreams and aspirations for us, and that's wonderful. It's awesome. But holding on to your idea of what someone else should be suffocates their growth and their authenticity for them, of who they aspire to be for themselves. So it is, I don't know if you all have felt it, but I have felt a complete energetic shift in the atmosphere where the weight of what should be has lifted. It is not, it's no longer a space of what should be. It is a space of what can be, and allowing that space of just giving each other room to grow and room to expand and room to um, be what divine has created us to be. Not what, so and so said I should do, or the suggestion of, oh, you can do this, so I am going to push you into doing that because that's comfortable for me. It's freeing. This new time of coming into our authenticity is freeing. It should be. It should be. I'm a perfectionist. May not look like it on the outside, but on the inside, it has to be this way. It has to look like this. It has to sound like this, and blah 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 blah. And putting all of this pressure on myself for it to be what somebody else expected it to be was a weight. It was a burden. And when I finally took that off, it's like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. So 2021 is going to show you who you are. 2020 showed you who you are. Now it's time for you to come into the space of being authentic in that. That's not just the good stuff that you want everybody to see. It's not just the good stuff that you want everybody to see. It's integrating that shadow stuff, that hard stuff, that things that you want to cover up, things that make you feel ashamed or embarrassed. It is taking your need to people please and saying, okay, I understand that this is comfortable for you. What I am doing with my life is your expectation. Now I'm going to take my power back. I am going to take the blessing of who I am, who I was created to be, and explore that until God calls me home, until I transition into another state. 2021 wants you to be truly who you are. If that is an asshole, okay, that's cool. That's who you are. If that's somebody who is sweet, loving, kind, and endearing, awesome. Cool. That's who you are. But escape the need to be what someone else wants you to be because they fear your change. They fear your whatever. It's fear. Don't allow other people's fears of them being called to change because you change to affect how you show up in life, to affect what God has put down on the inside of you. We're not all here to be the same. If we were all the same, it would be pretty fucking boring. So let's get more into that space of embracing everything about us. If it's something about yourself that you don't like, You have the power to change it. Not because somebody else says it's wrong for you to be that. Not because somebody else isn't comfortable with what you're doing, but because it is not something that you want to project out into the world. Okay, so let's be mindful of those connections that we have with everyone. Let's be mindful of the energy that we bring to the table. Are we in a space of allowing people to be who they are and just accepting it? Now, you don't have to accept bullshit and bad behavior towards you from anybody. That's your right. But it is also grace to allow other people to be who they are and be okay with it. You don't have a choice but to be okay with it, because you can't change anyone. The only person you can change is you. And I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you all so much for joining me. I look so forward to connecting and evolving and doing more talks and coming into more of who I am. Oh, one more thing. There's one more thing. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna save that for another TT Talks. That's something completely different. We'll be here a whole another 20 minutes. Thank you all for joining me. If you would like to discuss or need to get a personal from me, all of that information will be down in the description box below. Please follow me on Facebook, IG, and Twitter at divine_me1111. And you can inbox me on any of those platforms and schedule your reading. We'll talk about what it is that you're looking for, and we'll go from there. Okay, thank you all so much. I love you, and I send you all blessings and light. Take care.